I wanted to make this video to discuss Tim Burton's Ed Wood from 1994. Now, basically, Ed Wood is about the filmmaker Ed Wood. He is a claimed bad director in a way. He made Glenn or Glenda, which was, I believe, his first film. At least in the movie, it's portrayed that way. I could be wrong. He made Plan 9 from Outer Space most famously. And he kind of then went into creating at the end, either, I don't know if they were pornographic or more uh, soft core stuff, but he made Orgy of the Dead in 1965, The Sinister Urge after his more higher budget films like didn't really do numbers. And so basically, Ed Wood, I was looking into his backstory, and he started as a cinema usher. As a kid, he was obsessed with movies and pulp fiction comic books. He always wanted to be a filmmaker. And that was his goal from the very beginning. And now he's sort of known as one of the worst directors of all time. He won something called a Golden Turkey Award for the worst director of all time. No idea what the fuck that is or why that matters. But apparently that brought Ed Wood's work more into the public eye. Then a book was written, a oral biography, The Life and Art of Edward D. Wood Jr., which then spawned the Ed Wood film. And so, what I found very interesting about this film is definitely took some creative liberties. There's no doubt in my mind. But what I think it's really interesting about this film is sort of kind of it is like a character study of passion for film, but like kind of also in a way ignorance. In a way, Ed Wood is chasing this dragon. It doesn't matter what story he wants to tell. Or like what story he's going to tell. If he writes something and the producer says, "No, I want it more like this," he's like, "Okay, if you're gonna give me $50,000, I need this movie made. I need to film all the scenes today. Doesn't matter if they're good. I hope they're good. Oh, action. Yep, it's more real. Blah blah blah." He's like doing all this stuff, and he doesn't like slow down enough to be like, "Is this any good? Why am I doing this?" He knows why he's doing it because it's all he's ever wanted to do. All he's ever wanted to do was make film. And I think the movie in a lot of ways is critical of Hollywood. There are scenes in which there's a great scene actually at the end where Ed Wood meets his one of his idols. What's his name? About to say Citizen Kane, Orson Welles. He meets his idol Orson Welles, and they have this conversation about how Hollywood producers always are trying to do this and that, and it's this conversation where they're both vibing, they're both agreeing, and they're both filmmakers, even though Orson Welles is making Citizen Kane and Ed Wood is making Plan 9 from Outer Space, and then goes on to create Orgy of the Dead, you know? But they both share this passion for film. They both share this disdain for Hollywood and their systems. They both ended up becoming alcoholics. And I think it's sort of like this kind of way Hollywood takes you in with these fancy, out of these world things you could never believe, millions of dollars, even hundreds of thousands of dollars for films. But they chew you and they spit you out. They don't care about you. They care about turning a profit first and foremost, and it makes sense. But Ed Wood meets Bela Lugosi, and Ed has always loved like Dracula, and Bela Lugosi was the first person to capture Dracula on film, and he goes to Bela Lugosi and he's like, "Oh my God, like you're a star, blah blah blah." Like he sees him as this as a friend that he can be like, he takes his friendship on a different level because this person in his eyes is a star, and will bring him to a level of success. But at the same time, he sees him as a friend. He doesn't show enough concern for the actor's declining health, for the actor's concerning words. He's kind of lives up in his own world of, let's just make a crazy film. He basically, let me just do this. Let's not really worry about all that. And yeah, it is kind of sad. There's a really great uh character. I think what's his name? Who plays freaking Bella Lugosi. It's 1 second. Here, let me just pull this up. Martin Landau uh does such a great job portraying Bella Lugosi. And he what I love about Bella Lugosi's character in this film is there's this one scene where he's guys like, "Oh, I loved how you played what's his name's sidekick in Frankenstein and Dracula." And he's like, "Sidekick? Dracula was like he was the number one guy." And he had this obsession with the like sexuality and sensibilities of this monster with these hand movements and things like that. This his pride in this character who just ends up, appearing in films like Dracula and Frankenstein, and then Dracula and the Seven Evil Bitches, and Dracula and this, until he's a 70-year-old man who no one cares about, still doing a Dracula impression. And there's an even better scene where he goes, "The studio wanted me to be Frankenstein, and I told them no. I told them no because, it didn't fit my image of myself as I saw as Dracula, and look where that got me." And it's like, man, does that even matter? You would have just been Dracula and Frankenstein. Would you be happy? It's like, what are you chasing is the big question. Are you chasing something great, or are you chasing relevance? And I think that is another criticism of the Hollywood system. So here, yeah, I think Ed Wood, his character, there's a lot of relatability as someone who would love to make films and hasn't really done much of anything. It's hard to even criticize Ed Wood's films, because he did it. He got $50,000 to make a movie, but I think what the question's asking is, what does that get you? He kind of lies his way into getting these films, and I think the scenes that to me mean the most for Ed Wood are scenes where he shows genuine compassion and empathy and truth. There are some great scenes where he just tells the truth and finds this nugget of happiness. And I think it is, also criticizing, like, what are you doing this for? Are you making this movie for them, or are you making this movie for you? And while I don't know, I think Ed Wood's story is inherently a sad story, critical in a lot of ways. It's also just such a good character piece of someone's life in this cautionary tale. The film reminds me of another film, American Movie, in which these two kind of hicks from Milwaukee want to just create a film, and he's always wanted to create a film, but now he's just getting drunk on a couch screaming at football games and asking his one uncle for more money that he's just sitting on until he dies. And it's like, is he making this movie because of his passion, or is he making the movie because he thinks it's what he has to do? And I think that's the biggest thing, is a story should be something you want to tell. And I don't know which of Ed Wood's stories he wanted to tell or how he wants to be known, but I'm glad a movie like Ed Wood can be made to get a story out there. And that's what sets this apart from any of Ed Wood's film, is there's passion, there's effort, which sometimes wasn't shown in Ed Wood's films. It was famously had a lot of mistakes in his films, but there's passion, but there's also talent and effort to tell a story. And I think that's what's most important in filmmaking, is passion, but also putting in the work and not giving the audience what they want, or not being like, I'm gonna release this movie and it's gonna make fucking $1 million because everyone's gonna watch it even if it's shit. It is passion mixed with doing something for yourself. You know, there is the kind of acknowledgement in Hollywood, do one for them, do one for you. And while this might work for someone, I think primarily you should do everything for you, because why are you doing it for them? Why even do it at all? And even if, you work with some compromises, you might have to get things done in Hollywood. You really do, at the end of the day, need to have your talent match whatever. Okay, I'm kind of losing the track here. I think Ed Wood is a really complicated topic, and I think you should really watch the movie. It is a great, it's shot in the style of Ed Wood, not Ed Wood, but black and white, very old Hollywood. It's a lot of fun. And yeah, it was just brought up on the podcast Sardonicast. I watched the movie last night, watched the episode today, and yeah, I thought it'd be a good video I could make a good video on it, because I think in a lot of ways the movie kind of has spoken to me. So yeah, that's pretty much sums up my thoughts on Ed Wood. I'd recommend anyone who hasn't seen it watch it. It is like they say on the podcast, back when fucking Tim Burton was still making good movies. And I'm a big Tim Burton fan. You can see my Sweeney Todd official soundtrack up there, and I don't even have a fucking record player. I love that movie. I love a lot of Tim Burton stuff. I think he is really really just his passion and his ability. He's a fantastic filmmaker. I really do wish that he was as passionate now, because his new stuff is kind of whatever. But we won't get into that. But yeah, that's about it. See ya.